Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this evening's episode of the Charlton Chronicles. Aptly, we're going to name it again the Sunny Carey I Am Ginger 2 Chronicles. As you can see, we are a bit light tonight. We are joined by Paul and Steve and Sid. Obviously, Callum is a bit poorly, so Callum, we're sending you lots of get well soon wishes, and I hope you'll be back for Sunday. And Tyler is off celebrating his brother's birthday. So this is us for tonight. It's good for me to be back as well. And thanks to Tyler for holding the fort in my absence. So, Paul, I'll start with you. How are you feeling after that one last night, mate?
Yeah, no, obviously buzzing. Just to say, actually, I think I'd like to say it's quality over quantity, but obviously in Stevens' case, it very much is, but not in my case. But no, it's brilliant. Obviously, Sonny came up trumps yet again. As I said to you off air, there'll be people, I'm sure, circling in January. Just to apologise, and obviously the last couple of shows I've made impromptu exits both times because my work laptop battery died. But as you might be able to hear, I've got a brand new spanking new laptop of my own. So, I mean, obviously there were probably people that weren't complaining that I left early, but you know what I mean? But no, so apologies to everyone for that. But no, really, really glad to be on the show. And obviously, yeah, great, fantastic after last night. Another 3 points on the board. So, yeah, looking upwards. Great stuff.
Yeah, lovely. And Sid, I'll come to you next. How are you, my love?
Good, thank you. Very excited still after last night. And Sonny Carey is just doing his thing again.
Yes. Are you jealous that you don't have ginger hair too, Sid?
Yeah, in this case, yeah.
Yeah. And Steve, what about you? How are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks, Emma. Really enjoyed that. It was a euphoric moment, wasn't it? The noise was something else, I've got to say. Even watching it back today, when that ball hit the net, there was a heck of a noise. And yeah, I think it was celebrated like any last-minute winner, wasn't it? So yeah, very satisfied. And as Paul said there, another 3 points, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We'll say good evening to a few people in the chat. So Rob's in there first. Good evening. Jack Sife's in there. Good evening. Good evening to Chris. Good evening to Tracy. Good evening to another Chris. Good evening to Jack. And good evening to Zara. And that's all we've got in there at the moment. Obviously, we're going to talk about last night's, last minute kind of win. And then we will be talking about Wrexham on Saturday. And we will be joined by the amazing Tim from the Fearless in Devotion podcast. So really good guests coming on. That's the reason why we're staying, why we've come on a bit later, because Tim is actually going to be joining us in half time of the Wrexham match. So we will have him for a short period of time around 8:45. So we will obviously start with last night's game. Steve, if I can gauge your thoughts really on the overall performance. I mean, for me, I thought it was a little bit flat. You know, obviously I'd missed the last two home games personally, and I was maybe expecting a little bit better from us last night. I thought it was a very, very flat performance, but I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, it was a touch uninspiring, I think, for probably at least 70, 75 minutes of the game. I don't think we ever got started, certainly in the first half. Normally we come out the blocks pretty quickly and everyone's on their game. But yeah, I think we were just a touch tentative for whatever reason that was. I mean, we're the home side. We've got a great home record. We've always got a stable back three, back four to build on. But yeah, last night just seemed a little bit tepid, a little bit worrying. We were sort of frightened to take the risk. We sat back a bit and it was a little bit uninspiring. Yeah, first half was poor, but as I say, second half, not too dissimilar, to be fair. We probably rode our luck a couple of times, but obviously we missed a penalty and we had a couple of chances ourselves. I didn't think they were great, to be honest with you, West Brom. I thought they were a pretty poor side, and it was two teams sort of slugging it out rather than having a game of football. But yeah, ultimately we got the moment that mattered, and yeah, very pleased with the win in the end on the back of an average performance.
Yeah, and how are you feeling after that, Sid? Obviously, you know, a 95th minute winner. I mean, we should have already been, 1-0 up, in my opinion. It was a very poor penalty from Doc, but obviously we'll probably talk about that shortly. But how are you feeling sort of after that performance?
amazing. You know what? Obviously we love our last minute goals. But I mean, team performance before that goal, it wasn't amazing. I'll say that. Definitely a lot of our players could have worked a lot harder last night and could have put in more effort. But as Dad said, it was kind of a flat game, and not a lot of people thought that it was exciting until that last minute. But yeah, should have gone 1-0 up with Doherty's penalty. But again, we'll talk about that. But again, it is just Sonny Carey being Sonny Carey. And when you play the videos back on all the socials, I mean, when you can hear the crowd cheering, it's just so loud, even through a phone. And obviously being there in the moment is just even better.
Yeah, I'd certainly say the renditions of old Sonny Carey were spine tingling in every which way. I had goosebumps when we were singing that, which was amazing. And I feel very proud to have ginger hair. So right now I'm actually, ginger hair is back and it's popular. Paul, give us your overall thoughts on the game, and do you feel maybe we rode our luck a bit at times? I mean, I think if West Brom had maybe a bit more up top, they probably should have taken their chances and nicked that game, but they were really lacking, in front of goal. But I actually thought at times they dominated possession, and we looked way off it.
Yeah, if had a bit more all over, we might have been in trouble. At least they did play it around a bit better than we did. They seemed to be a bit slicker, but it's just they didn't seem to do much with it. I mean, Isaac Price bits, particularly in the second half. He was marauding down the right wing dangerously, got a couple of crosses in, but yeah, I mean, obviously I wasn't aware just how negative some of their fans were. Obviously, I was telling you, I've seen some of the vlogs, and they're all like, Ryan Mason's on his uppers basically, which I didn't realise, if you were just to look at their league position or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I think we did ride our luck. I mean, Kaminski pulled off some good saves. Lloyd Jones was doing Lloyd Jones bits, wasn't he? He was all over the place. A real, well, I was going to say vice captain's performance, but we've had that debate about the captaincy already, haven't we? Really, on here many times. So, but it was a captain's performance. He was excellent. But yeah, that again, they're like other teams that have come to the Valley. They had possession, haven't done much with it really, and that's the issue, isn't it? It doesn't matter how much of the ball you have, how much percentage of possession you have. If you can't bring an end product to it, then you could likely be scuppered, and that's what what happened to them. I mean, I think time was obviously running out. I thought about 4th minute of stoppage time. If we had only 2 or 3 minutes extra, maybe we could pull it off. We didn't need that, obviously, with Sonny. But yeah, I mean, we did. We're sort of living on the edge a bit, aren't we? At times, it could so easily have ended 1-1, which would have been disappointing. But could we have said that we were much the better team? I mean, as Sid said, sort of minute 75 with the subs, particularly with Ibby Fuller, started creating stuff. We started getting a bit of momentum, sort of late in the half. But we need to be sort of dominating early, much earlier than that. He actually used the subs, I thought, quite well yesterday. And as I say, Ibby was excellent. Then we saw some good stuff from Harvey Nibbs. But as I say, yeah, we could have easily been sort of maybe a couple of goals down if West Brom had sort of brought their sort of A game to the party. But they've obviously got their own troubles, which I don't really care about, frankly. We've got the points, and at the end of the season we'll just see the 3 points. We won't see we don't get any. It's not like gymnastics. You don't get any sort of percentage for performance, do you? It's all about the win. So that's all I care about, really.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll obviously go through some player performances, because I think there was quite a few talking points, and obviously we had a debut for Onel Hernandez as well last night. So Steve, I'll come to you. I thought Kaminski last night, that was probably for me, that's probably one of his better performances this season. I thought he looked quite astute in goal. He made a couple of really good saves. I still gonna moan a little bit about his kicking. I felt there's a few times where he put us under pressure a bit with his kicking. But apart from that, I think that was one of his better performances. What did you make of his performance?
Yeah, I thought he was commanding last night. I sort of was party to from where we sit. A couple of the conversations that went on between him, Lloyd, and Macca, and yeah, he looked like he was bossing things at the back there. Yeah, as I say, the kicking is what it is. But yeah, everything else I thought he did really, really well, and I think his distribution wasn't too sad as well. But he made an outstanding save, didn't he? I mean, that was a really important part of the game. I think that was a defensive lapse there where we let the guy run, and he came out, made himself big, and I mean he does that a bit, you know, when he's on one-on-ones, he does what good goalkeepers do, and he makes himself big and he gets himself in the way. And yeah, I think last night that was a very, very, very important save at a very, very important time. If that would have gone in, heads might have dropped. There might not have been the impetus to go forward and push forward to get the goal at the end. But yeah, impressed. I thought he did really well last night.
Yeah, good. And Sid, I'll come back to you. But Paul, obviously Onel Hernandez debut last night. Now, I don't really know an awful lot about him from his Norwich days, if I'm being completely honest with you. Although I liked his behaviour at Ipswich, you know, where he was giving it to their fans. He established himself as a bit of a legend for me there and then. But obviously he came in last night at wing back because obviously we're having a few, you know, injury issues there, and obviously James Bree on the other side. Now, what did you make of those performances? Because for me, I thought that was one of Bree's poorer games for us. His crossing at times was not great, and I don't really know what to make of Hernandez, to be honest. I was a bit confused, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, I was obviously concerned as to how the defence would measure up after the injuries on Saturday. So I was looking at Anel, and he stepped up. I felt he acquitted himself very well. Actually, he was pretty snappy in the tackle. He got up and down pretty well. I think at Norwich he was mainly deployed as sort of a winger, come sort of the TC, the cutting in and sort of whipping in goals and whipping in crosses, which he did to great effect when he was at Carrow Road. And I thought he acquitted himself really well. I don't think there were maybe a couple of times in the second half where he got beaten. Again, I mentioned Isaac Price down his side. But other than that, I thought we did really well. I was actually really worried before kickoff about how things would pan out in defence. In terms of, you know, Breezer, I think because he was kind of pushed more forward, wasn't he? More sort of advanced, more of a sort of winger rather than a wing back. So I don't know whether that sort of reshuffle maybe affected him. You know, maybe psychologically, it's something he's having to adjust to. Maybe he was just a bit jaded. You're right. I think it wasn't perhaps his best performance. I don't think he was very bad, but yeah, it wasn't. He certainly didn't stand out. As I say, I don't think he did anything particularly badly. But yeah, I think I think overall, I mean, we'll talk about the defence, but I think we were quite solid. But yeah, perhaps we didn't take the chances or didn't create as much as perhaps we'd think. I mean, you know, Breeze has set the bar pretty high, hasn't he, in terms of his creativity, his crossing, his set piece work. And, you know, he's entitled to have a sort of off day, isn't he, really? As I say, I don't think he did particularly badly. But yeah, again, he sort of kind of lacked a bit of a spark, which I think we did until a certain 18-year-old came in late in the game. And again, we'll talk about him as well, really. So yeah, it was a bit up to sort of the first hour, 70 minutes. It was all a bit much of a muchness, really. If we'd have put the penalty away, then I think maybe things would have looked a bit different. We perhaps would have pressed home the advantage. But, you know, we didn't play great, but, you know, we got the 3 points. So, as I say, at the end of the day, that's all that matters, really, I think.
Yeah, I think for me, my probably issue with Hernandez, well, not even an issue with Hernandez, I would have liked to have seen him trying to take players on a little more. You know, as I've heard that is what he can do. Like I said, I don't really know much about him as a player, but I felt defensively he was pretty good, but I would have liked to have seen more from him going forward.
Yeah, I think, I mean, that's good. That's a fair point, Emma. I mean, certainly he was, you know, rated or known in Norwich as being, you know, very progressive, more of a sort of winger, sort of stroke wing back. I mean, to my mind, as I say, it was important that he set out his base, he set out his stall as a defender yesterday. That was what I was looking for him to do. I think he did that really well.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 32 now, isn't he? So he's obviously probably not as lithe and as athletic as he was, you know, 5-6 years ago. So I guess we need to factor that into account. But yeah, as I say, hopefully as he, you know, that was his debut. Hopefully as he gets more minutes under his belt, he'll get more confidence and he will get more progressive. But as I say, from a defensive point of view, I couldn't really fault him yesterday. I thought he did really well.
Yeah, definitely. Sid, I'll come to you to talk about the back three. So obviously, you know, we are lacking a bit in depth now with injuries. So back three would probably be maybe my first choice back three, in Macca, Kane and Lloyd. Obviously Lloyd got man of the match, another really good solid performance from Lloyd, but that's what you come to expect from Lloyd, you know, Lloyd Jones. If we're up against it in times, you know, in matches, you know, he's always gonna lead from the back, and he is a great leader at the back. So what did you make of the performance of those three last night?
I thought they were all really good, to be honest, especially Lloyd. I mean, Lloyd is just Lloyd, but I mean, even every header that he goes up for, he's winning. Like every challenge that he's going into, he's winning. And same with Macca and Kane. I mean, Kane made some good challenges last night. But yeah, thought that they were really solid. A couple times where a few of them lost track of where they were, and a few shots got taken, but nothing too major. But think they're doing really well.
Yeah, and Steve, are you concerned by the injury issues we've got in defence? I mean, if either one of Kane, Lloyd or Macca gets injured, we literally have no cover.
Yeah, I think that's a genuine concern, and one that may well be addressed in January in regards to either a loan or getting someone in on a permanent basis. I think we are a little bit light. Those three guys that we're talking about there are quite robust. I mean, Lloyd, he had a bit of an injury situation last year, but Kane and Kane had a little bit, but yeah, hopefully they can keep themselves fit until we address that situation. But yeah, they show every week, don't they, how important they are to us. They don't just play like proper men, proper centre halves. They lead by example, and all you could have an argument that all three of those are sort of leaders of the team in that respect. But yeah, we are a little bit light in that, and it's one place I'd potentially like to be addressed in January, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really pleased to see Macca get another run in the team as well, because I was very surprised, you know, when he did get dropped this season. But I think, you know, oh God, I've forgotten his name. Amari Bell, sorry, has been class for us, and it's a real shame actually that he's got injured. So I wish Amari, you know, all the best, because he's been absolute class this season. You know, without a shadow of a doubt. Paul, I'll come back to you to probably talk about the biggest moment of last night, apart from the GOAT, Sonny Carey. Greg Docherty's penalty miss. Now, I think I remember turning to Adam and saying, who's stepping up to take the penalty? Because you know where we see it. I can't see nothing at the other end. And I was like, he's like Docherty. And I'm like, what? I said, he's going to miss. I just knew. And it would, you know, was you shocked that it was Doc who stepped up to take that penalty?
Yeah, I was shocked that no one ran to get the ball, really. I was like, well, isn't that going to be some sort of competition, you know? And it's like, I was looking around, I was videoing it and thinking, well, who's taking it? Then when Doc picked the ball, I was like, I wasn't exactly confident. Then he did his sort of jogging on the spot bit, that sort of Mo Salah. I thought, no. And then lo and behold, he hit it at a nice height for the keeper. I mean, it looks worse, doesn't it, when the keeper guesses right? But he kind of telegraphed it, I think, didn't he? To be fair, and yeah, nice height for Griffiths, you know. And it's like, yeah, so it was a letdown, really, but it didn't. You know, like you, I wasn't entirely surprised. You know, normally it's like, you know, you want someone to take the ball, you know, be keen and enthusiastic, and even if they sort of blast it over the bar, at least, you know, they've had a go, and you know, I always say just pick your spot, blast it, whatever. And if you hit it hard, the keeper, you know, it might go off the keeper, off the post, and there was no one following up either, which I think was quite disappointing for me. You know, so yeah, it was a letdown, but I didn't feel it was going to be a pivotal moment. You know, in some games you think, oh God, that's a chance gone. In previous seasons, if that had happened to us, you could almost guarantee the inevitability that, you know, we get an 88th minute goal against us. So as I say, I'd sort of no harm done. But you don't get many penalties, do we? That was that first this season. So it's like, if you get those those chances, you need to take them. And it was so lacking in conviction. The whole thing, as I say, as soon as the whistle blew, the ref gave the penalty, you're expecting someone to say, right, I'll step forward now. Here we go. And it was all this sort of silence for I forget how long my video was, but probably about 30 seconds before Doc even put the ball on the spot. And it's like, what was that all about? So I think hopefully lessons will be learned. I was surprised that Sonny didn't take it. But there we are, as I say. So I think we got off with one there. It could have changed the momentum of the game, but as we've said, the Baggies weren't great, were they? So they weren't able to take advantage. In future games, we're going to need to take the penalty, score it, because there'll be other teams that will be far more ruthless than the Baggies were. So as I say, we got away with one there for sure.
Yeah, Matt's actually made an interesting point in the chat saying, shot that Lee Byrne as a striker didn't say give it to me. Sonny said to Rich Cooley that Doc was designated taker, which is bemusing for me because they said it's the first penalty he's ever taken in his career.
Yeah.
So I don't know how, like in a competitive match anyway, when you've got two strikers on the pitch in Tyrese and Miles, you've got to be confident enough if you're playing championship football, in my opinion, to step up and you take those penalties. You've got to. You have to. And I think Doc's obviously taken it on because he's captain, but he doesn't score a lot of goals, does he? Let's be honest. And it was a poor penalty. You've got to not put it at that height. A keeper's going to get that every single time. So, yeah, he wasn't great, but, he's been pretty good for us recently, so we can't really knock him too much for that. We all make mistakes and we move on. Steve, I'll come back to you because I want to talk to you about the man of the moment. Well, he's man of the pod at the minute. I'm going to rename it, I think, the Charlton Chronicles. The Ginger Genius, as we like to call him. So, again, I thought it was another really good performance from him. I thought he worked his socks off. Probably not his best performance, but I think midfield, we lacked a bit of creativity last night anyway. I think Doc looked a bit lost at times. I think Connor looked a bit overrun, in all honesty, as well. But once again, he steps up and he delivers.
Yeah, I mean, he's just putting markers down all the times now with his performances, isn't he? With his effort, with his skill, with his desire. You're talking about a guy that looks potentially every time that he gets the ball and he can turn, he looks like he's a danger. He looks like he could create something. He looks like he could slide someone in. He looks like he could crack a shot in from 30 yards. I think he's probably one of those guys that's demanding the ball a lot of the time from the other guys. And he just genuinely is a problem for other teams. I think he's finding good positions between the defence and the midfield, which is potentially giving us license and opportunity to score. And there's no coincidence that with him being our top scorer this season, he's finding those positions where the ball's going. It's a bit like that John Terry syndrome where they used to say every time a ball came in as a centre half, the ball came to him. Carey seems to find himself in a lot of good positions, and that's no lucky thing. That's him gain knowledge. That's knowing where he should be on the pitch. But as I say, I mean, if you even look at the build up to that goal, he was involved in the centre position. He nearly lost it. He got it back, and then obviously we got the corner. But yeah, we're banking on him, but I think he's delivering with that. The strike that he got away was on target. He was very unlucky not to score from the first one that he had. The keeper made a brilliant save from. But I think it was there's a genuinely a good thing about him at the moment. All 11, 12, 13 players, when he celebrated with him last night, even people that are vying for position with him, Nibs, they're all over him. And I watched Apter last night as well. When he scored, Apter was genuinely pleased for his mate, and it looked great. And he looks like he's in love with us. We're in love with him. He ran straight to the manager. That's a good thing for him and the manager in that respect. And the fact that everyone got involved in that just shows what a team we are. But he's the catalyst at the moment. He's the one that's leading our charge, and he's the one that's scoring our goals. Yeah.
Yeah, can I just say on that, because I did put something on my Instagram and I think I pissed a few people off, but Nathan Jones didn't score the goal. Get down off the holding. It ain't all about you. It was Sonny's moment. And I actually watched it back And Greg Docherty actually pulled Nathan Jones down and got him away so Sonny could celebrate. So, yes, Nathan, it was Sonny's moment, not yours. Chill out. Sid, I'm going to come to you because I need a Sydney rant. So, Tyrese Campbell, her face, she's like, oh, God. I honestly don't know how the guy stayed on the pitch for 90 minutes, if I'm being completely honest. Still no assists, still no, or he might have one assist, I think. Still no goals. I didn't think he pressed that well last night. Is he still wanting his place in this starting lineup for you?
You know what? I don't think he was too bad last night. I do think that he worked really well with Fuller, to be honest. And I think there was a TikTok that was made from the official pages, and it was Fuller's little skill, and then it was a pass into Tyrese, I think, and then I think Tyrese gave it to Miles. But I do think that probably because they might have had a link up in the academy, and obviously they're both a bit younger, that they work well together and they understand each other, and they've obviously both broken through from the academy, so they should be able to work together anyways. But yeah, don't think he was too bad, but don't think he was great. Still could work on some stuff, but overall, not too bad.
Oh, I was expecting a rant. I'm gutted. I knew I should have. Where's Tyler when I need him? Paul, now I'll come to you on the other half of that partnership. Miles Leaburn. So I thought, again, he worked quite well last night. Little bit frustrated sometimes with his lack of being able to win headers when he's 6'7" against a much smaller defender. But again, I think his performances are getting stronger. I still don't think he's a starter for me. I still think I like him and TC coming off the bench for me. I think it works really well. I'm desperate to see Tanto get more minutes. I think 10 minutes is just robbing the talented guy, if I'm honest, and I don't think he's being given a chance to shine. What do you make of the front line in general right now?
I was surprised, like you, that Tanto isn't starting, to be honest with you. I think certainly Tanto and TC, and obviously Charlie been fit, Tanto and Charlie. I think Miles sort of struggles manfully. We know he's great. He's got great skill. I think he's, as I say, he's not afraid to put himself about. But I'm not entirely sure what he did yesterday. I mean, again, he worked really hard. I'm not sure how effective he was really. I didn't see much in the way of kind of link up play. It seemed a bit disjointed. Perhaps I'm being unfair on him. My eyes weren't really on him. As I say, I was more concentrating on sort of the defence side, and also my eyes were taken with Ibby when he came on. I'm not sure that he should be starting really. I think I'd agree with you. He's probably better off the bench. And the fact that I can't really say, what Miles did in particular, I can't remember any particular chances that he created, but that may just be me doing him a grave disservice. Obviously, I'd be happy to be stood corrected. But yeah, I don't think he, as I say, he worked hard, but he pressed as well. But I'm not sure that he was all that effective in terms of what he's paid to do, which is obviously try and get on the end of balls and score goals, really.
Yeah, see, there's been some interesting comments in the chat, and I love to hear different opinions, but people have said that they don't think Tanto did that well. He spent most of his time on the floor. Stuart said he's not been impressed by Tanto in his short cameos. To defend him, I think, what can you expect from him in 10 minutes? He's not superhuman. He needs to be given longer. And, I think it's unfair to judge someone when they're only getting like 10 minutes here and there. He needs to be given some more game time to prove himself. He has proved he is a solid, good striker at Stockport, the same as, Charlie proved he is a fantastic striker, with Orient. But Charlie, hasn't really progressed this season as probably people expected. But look at the amount of time he's been given. and Tanto isn't being given the same grace, and it's really quite strange for me, and I don't know quite what's going on there. But you know, you can't give Kelman all that time and those chances, and you're not giving Tanto the same. You know, the same. It's not right for me.
Yeah, I mean, go on, Sid, go on.
Oh, thank you. It's just like, and also Tanto has scored, and he is one of the strikers that has scored. So I don't know why you wouldn't use him when he's got that talent.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing for me as well. Like, it is strange, and I honestly don't think you can judge him off 10 minutes. It's not fair to judge him on that. So
yeah, I mean, some people can hit the ground running. I mean, obviously, saw Ibby, you know, came on, he hit the ground running literally, and he's brilliant. Some players, you know, can get up to the pace of the game quickly. Others need time to warm up, you know. And I think, as I say, with Tanto, as you said, he needs more time. You know, he needs a half, or he needs to start to show what he can do. And as I say, it's difficult, isn't it, when you're sort of, it gets a bit hairy and scary towards the end there. You're trying to get a goal. And yeah, as I say, it's you know, trying to get up to the pace of the game isn't always as simple as it perhaps sounds, really. But yeah, no, I think he does deserve a bit more time. And as you say, Charlie's been given time, and of course it's now bearing fruit. So you know, it's kind of working. Whereas obviously, you know, Tanto's almost been treated like Charlie was at QPR. You know, here and there, a few minutes here, a few minutes there. How was he going to progress? So hopefully, as I say, Tanto will get some. Get the chance to work himself into games. But yeah, 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. You know, how's that going to develop you? You know.
Yeah, and I think like Marcus said, Tanto has the attributes to succeed in this division, but he doesn't get the time in his actual position. A shame. And this is exactly it, isn't it? Like, yeah, maybe he hasn't looked great in his sub performances, apart from maybe Sheffield United where he scored. But I don't get why we paid. I think we paid 1.5 million for Tanto, and he's not even getting a chance. And obviously Jones, you know, Jones knows what he's doing. What he's doing is working. But it's a real shame to see, because again, he's a youngish lad. What is he, 20, 24, 25? And that's going to knock his confidence, coming from Stockport, where he was playing maybe 30 games a season, to now not playing anything. You know, he's going to be getting frustrated. And just coming back to what you said, Paul, like, it's harder for a striker to get involved in the game. Like when Ibby came on, obviously playing out wide like he was, he's got more of an opportunity to get in the game there, in my opinion. And, you know, before obviously we welcome our guest on, I'm just waiting for the Wrexham match to finish. You know, we'll talk about Fuller. How absolutely impressed. I couldn't believe that touch and turn. Like, I was just like, what the hell? Like, this kid is, to have the confidence to do that on your, you know, your debut in the Championship. What a kid, you know, what a future this kid has got.
Yeah, 100%. He just looks like one of those kids that A, that wants to get involved, and B, as soon as he gets on, give me the ball, let me make something happen. And I doubt that he even needed Jones to tell him that last night. He just looked hungry, didn't he? He came on, he backs himself. I think he knows he's got ability, and he's probably a kid that looks confident enough to say, do you know what, I can play at this level. But yeah, he come on, he sort of he lit fires, didn't he? He put a spark into the supporters, put a spark into the team, and ultimately it got us up the pitch in the end where we needed to be. But yeah, the kid's got so much talent, and he's got so much potentially to give us in a period of time now. He could be the next big thing to come through our system.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I love the fact that Hendo was pushing Nathan Jones to get him on as well. And that's what you want to see. Yeah. You want to see our youth being developed and getting a chance. And yeah, this kid's going to go on to massive, massive things. I've just got to say a big shout out to my lovely friend Danny in the chat with her daughter Sienna. Sienna is Hernandez's biggest fan, and she got his shirt after the game last night. So I'm sure she's got a little crush on him really. But Sienna, I hope you're hugging that shirt tight and you've got your scarf on still as well. And well done on getting his shirt last night. So before we talk about the other subs, I want to welcome on our very special guest, the lovely Tim from Fearless in Devotion. How are you, mate? Welcome.
I'm all right. How are you?
Good. I actually owe Tim an apology, he's told me, because I said that Wales is a shithole last season. He's told me this when he messaged me earlier, and he's lived in London and said it's a shithole as well, which I completely agree. London
certain parts,
yes,
and expensive.
Parts, but it was just a bit of banter. Like I told you, Tim, I'm a quarter Welsh, so
it's all right. I can understand your anger after that match, and obviously seeing us get promoted as well. So
especially when I was in an Indian restaurant after, full of Wrexham fans. Yeah, I was, and someone went to me, "You're a Charlton fan?" I went, "I don't want to talk about it, mate." and then he just wouldn't shut up because he was pissed as a fart. So how's the game going? I see you're 0-0 all the time.
Yeah, it's all right. Couple of decent chances. Don't look in any real danger, but obviously Portsmouth have made like 7 changes, so they're naturally gonna give it some welly in that half. So just see how we get on second half now. But yeah, that's one of the good things for us. Really, we've not really been rolled over by anybody, not in the true sense. You know, early doors we had a few sort of reversals at home, but that's a team gelling at the time, and we're probably. I don't think we can use that excuse anymore. You know, quarter of the season gone. I think it's fair to say that we've gelled fairly nicely, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, obviously we don't have you for long, so I don't want to keep you for too long, so you can get back to the second half.
Right.
But
you got until about 5 past, because I think it finished at like about 3.
I just sort of want to ask you. Obviously, you know, you guys came up automatic, and obviously we came up through the playoffs, which was great, really. You know, but what were your kind of expectations for this season, and has it kind of, you've not had kind of the best of starts, should we say, but I was really impressed watching you against Coventry. I thought, you know, Wrexham was superb in that game, and a really, really good performance, especially from Kiefer Moore. So, you know, what were your expectations, and how are you feeling sort of, you know, a little way of the season in?
Before we spent 30 million quid, I think the expectations were just stay up. After we spent 30 million quid, we were all looking at each other completely bewildered, because obviously we'd barely put our hands in our pockets in previous years gone by. And I think even 12 months ago, our record signing was something like 500,000. And all of a sudden that's gone up to like 8 million or something. So once that money was spent and we saw the players that would come in, I think our kind of like sights changed slightly, not in an arrogant way, but in a realistic way. If you're going to spend that much money on what looked to be very, very good players, and Parky, for to his credit, very rarely gets his recruitment wrong. You can probably count on one hand the amount of players you're thinking, well, that was a weird signing. So 9 times out of 10, he gets it right. So you have to trust it. You have to trust it again. And man, he's done three promotions in the bounds. You have to trust him and his recruitment team. And so I think when we saw the players sort of filtering in, and we get Kiefer Moore and all these sort of names that we would have never imagined we would have got, you know, sort of 12 to 18 months ago, I think that's changed everybody's kind of outlook on it. I think we've gone from like, well, let's just survive, which is the kind of the baseline, you know, realistic aim. But because of how tight this division is, and because of a lot of other fans of other clubs that have been here for a while saying that this is probably the most open championship that's been for some time, you kind of got to go, well, you know what? We're a quarter of the season in. You can make a fair judgment and assessment of how well your team is doing now. We've had a lot of injuries early season, which kind of knocked us off our stride a little bit, and we just seem to be in a good spot at the moment, to be honest. So I think we're now in a part where we can go, you know what, if we can get mid-table and upwards, that'll be more than decent for a first season back at this level in 43 years. But if we're in the mix come January, I dare say that the purse strings will be loosened again, and who knows? You know, 3's never been done. 4 certainly hasn't been done. I'm not saying it will be done, because it's highly, highly unlikely it will. But then, stranger things have happened, haven't they? So there we are.
Yeah, as we've got you for a limited time, I'm going to ask these guys to set some questions for you. So I know Sid's going to have a question for you, because Sid has got a very, very special person at your football club that she absolutely idolises and adores. So I'm sure, and it is not Ryan Reynolds. So I'm sure she's going to want to ask you a question about him.
Yeah, so my favourite player is George Dobson, and I've been seeing recently that he's kind of not been getting in the starting 11, and I just wanted to know if there was a reason to that, or if you know why.
I think he's played quite a few games, and he's been probably early player of the season for us in terms of how he's adjusted. He was kind of probably did he? I can't remember if he played the Carabao Cup game, because I've tried to erase that from my brain because of how bad.
Yeah,
it
I think
was.
he did. I think he did play in that game.
Yeah, and there was a lot of changes made in the aftermath to that, and obviously he sort of didn't feature against Coventry, and neither again tonight. But before then, he's been great, and I think sometimes if you've got the squad depth which we've got, you can afford to kind of rotate now and again. I think we're just in that place where we can do it, and it's not like we're dropping George out for somebody who's not as good as him. We're dropping people out who are probably on a par with him or can just offer something different. And the amount of effort he's put in so far this season has been phenomenal, like ridiculously good, like really, really good. So he's definitely not an afterthought, and he's definitely not going to be one where you just think, oh yeah, he's kind of lost his place. He'll definitely probably be almost certainly involved again tonight. And it's just been a bit of a busy period as well, because you have the international break, then we had I think it was like we had the Tuesday, we had the Saturday at Middlesbrough, then the Tuesday against Cardiff, then the Coventry game on the Friday. So you got to think, well, to the average, bloke or lady in the street, it doesn't sound like much, but I suppose if you're a high performing athlete, you kind of got to look at it in different ways. And can you mix it up? Can you change it out? And there's not a reflection on George Dobson. Oh, he's literally been so good for us this season that I think, sometimes you think, well, he can afford, if he can afford to give him a bit of a breather and he comes back even stronger again, he's just recharging his batteries a little bit. But great player. And just the only sort of slight criticism I could ever possibly aim at him is just do with a few more goals from him, I think, because he gets into so many good positions. I think sometimes maybe he doesn't back himself to have a shot. Whereas I think he could do that, but he's just really good at what he does, isn't he? Just breaks at play. He's got that weird kind of running style that everybody picks up on, where he kind of looks like he sort of runs like he's already pulled a hamstring, but he actually hasn't. He just runs in a really weird way. But yeah, what a guy! What a haircut!
No, I was just about to say the man bun is just not working, and I have told him that. Yeah, I tried to cut it off when I saw him, but he wouldn't let me.
I think we should stick with the curtains on that one.
Yeah, not the man bun. I think that was a bit of a theme at Wrexham last season. There were a few man buns on the go.
Yeah, but Stephen Fletcher's defence, he only grew it to hide the obvious bald patch. You go to any old pictures of Stephen Fletcher, he's bald as anything at the back. I mean, if I had a massive egg in the basket at the back, I'd be growing it and sweeping it back and out the way. I had a man bun once. I did it during COVID. Such a weird thing. I don't know how you ladies do it. It's hard work, long hair.
I need to see a picture of that, Tim. I'm not going to lie. I'm not kidding, right? And this is going to sound ridiculous, but I'll send you the picture because it's quite funny. Because my hair's so straight, like it just went like straight down. I looked across between Jennifer Aniston from Friends and Iggy Pop. It's such a weird thing. I mean, they look similar anyway. Everybody's made that sort of thing before. They kind of do look similar, but. Yeah, it was definitely a vibe, but I'm not sure it's one I'm willing to recreate again. I don't know. Anyway, so confused. Steve, I'm sure you've got a great question for Tim.
Yeah, and welcome to the podcast, Tim. I know that on Saturday we're probably going to see two teams that are a lot different from the two teams that played off against each other last season. You've obviously got some obvious guys that have come in and done well in regards to Kiefer Moore. But in regards to the new signings that you have made, is there anyone potentially that we need to look out for on Saturday or be wary of, seeing as though you see them every week and we just see them every now and again?
Yeah, I was trying to did a little piece for a newsletter that me and one of my colleagues write earlier on. I think from your team that won the other night, I think there was still 6 or 7 from that team that we beat you, the 3-0, including 3 of your back 4. So it's like, well, I kind of brought me to the conclusion that maybe you were more of a championship ready side than we were, if you look at it in sort of that sort of parameter. But yeah, it's a weird thing, because obviously we sort of shipped out all these like sort of legendary players for us that have served us so well in such a short space of time, and we got like some unbelievable players. It's so strange. It's such a strange thing. So Lewis O'Brien obviously was highly thought of at Swansea when he was on loan. We got him from Nottingham Forest, really, really busy. Similar to George Dobson. This is where Dobber probably is feeling a little bit frustrated, because we've got so many good midfielders. It's wild, really, really mad. So Lewis O'Brien's really good, very, very busy player. Just always plays on the front foot, always going forward, always harassing, always just good with his tackles and stuff like that. Similar to what we had with Ollie Rathbone, with our player of the season last year, but obviously he took a massive injury in over the summer, so he's nowhere near fit yet. I mean, he came in for the Cardiff game, but I might as well have played that game. They were all shambles, to be honest. But obviously Kiefer Moore does what Kiefer Moore does for a Phil Parkinson team. He's probably been less effective in other areas, but we play to his strengths. Issa Kabore is a sort of right wing back we got on loan from Man City for the season. He's just rapid, like ridiculously quick. So he's had a bit of a sketcy game first half tonight, but if he cocks up, he's got the pace to get back and win the ball. And like, you just can't. If you've got a reasonable touch, you're always going to be a bit of a problem for anybody, really. So he's really, really decent. Dom Hyam at the back, defender that we had from Blackburn. He came in late in the January transfer window. I'd never heard of him, I'll be honest. And I love it when you get a player that, Dominic Hyam doesn't really scream big name, with the greatest respect to every Dominic in the world. And he's just come into the team, and it just feels like he's been there forever. Because I love it when you get a player that just goes about the business in an unfussy manner, dead effective, gets on with it, does exactly what he's paid to do, get the ball away from our goal by hook or by crook, So I like that about him. He's just slotted in really, really quickly. So those are the ones off the top of my head, to be honest. And that's. I'm sure there's a few more, but those are the ones that are really stood. Josh Windass, I can't mention Josh Windass, obviously, because the amount of assists he's made in, I think it's like 7 or 8 goal involvements, as the word is said now, in like 10 games or something. So a bit of a rogue Jack the Lad. I like him because he's just like, he's not media trained, or if he is, he takes no notice of it. He just tells people how it is and gets on with it. And we should have more of that in football. None of this, it was good, no, it was rubbish. He said before, I'm sick of people saying that we've adjusted to the Championship. It should have always been the case, because a lot of these players that we brought in have played at the Championship level. So he kind of does have a point. So yeah, Windass has been really good as well.
Yeah. Paul, before we let Tim go, I know you're a big fan of the Fearless in Devotion podcast. So have you got a quick question for Tim before we let you go?
Yeah, Tim, obviously, firstly, thanks for coming. Great to have you on. I was going to just ask you about focusing on sort of fan expectations and the aftermath of the Cardiff game, but I just wanted to pivot very quickly. I saw the very fitting and moving tribute that you and the boys did to Joey Jones. I had Liverpool inclinations back in the day, and obviously Joey was one of my favourite players. And I always saw he obviously gave everything for the badge, everything for the shirt, loved the fans, loved his home area. And I always saw him as very much a sort of uniting figure, if you like. I wanted to contrast that with, and correct me if I'm wrong, slight disgruntlement among the fan base, at the moment, particularly sort of, some people think Parky's found his level. I know, you guys on the pod after Cardiff were quite sort of caustic about the way things were in terms of inconsistency and guys not giving everything for the badge. But I wanted you to take off your 30 years plus fandom hat, put on your journalist hat. Would you say that, given the budget you've got, that fan expectations are absurdly high at the moment, or?
I think it is in certain quarters. I think it maybe it's an unfair judgment, because it's almost impossible to say, to be honest. But I think maybe amongst the newer fan base, because you've got that momentum of only seeing your team win over and over, not North America and Australia, all the newer fans. If you're just used to seeing a team win, and then all of a sudden there's defeats, people like maybe not sure how to take it, but I mean, everybody can learn to take a defeat. I think it's just a manner of defeat. The reason I got so antsy about the Cardiff thing was A, it was Cardiff, and B, it was the manner of it. It was just like it was easily the worst performance in the parky. I'll die on that hill. I'm convinced. It was like they just slipped a note round each other in the dressing room, and it just says, "Do not fucking win." Sorry to swear.
Oh, sorry, we like a swear.
Yeah, so I know you do.
The Wrexham pubs are safe this year. I'm going on the coach. To all Wrexham fans, if there's anyone watching, your Wetherspoons is safe. I will not try and get kicked out this year. I'm on the coach.
Yeah. But so it's. I mean, I think the expectations are naturally always going to be elevated because of what's been achieved. But I think anybody with a sense of perspective and genuine perspective will take a step back and go, this literally feels like a season of free hits. As long as we stay above where we need to stay above, you kind of go into it enjoying every game, and even the defeats have been high quality. That game's end has just gone in a blink of an eye because of how end to end these games tend to be. It's not like a bit cat and mouse in the sort of lower leagues or games are won by 6-3 or something like that. These are all like 2-1s, 3-2s, 1-0s. They're all dead close. So I think that. I like the fact that we've lost several games. I like the fact that we've been sketchy in others because it just presses a bit of reset amongst an expectation that, to all intents and purposes, isn't real. It's almost like fantasy football, and I think it's easy to fall into that trap when you have 3 successive promotions because you're just like in dream world, like what can possibly be achieved now. So I think naturally the expectation's been there, but I think it's been tempered somewhat. And that's great because I think we needed rain in a bit, and that includes everybody with their own fan base. I think some people can get way too carried away and big for their boots, and I've probably been guilty of that myself.
Well, you probably also got it out of your system because you came roaring back against Coventry, so all's well, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but I still would have rather lost to Coventry and beat Cardiff.
Right, Tim, your game was re-kicked off, so I don't think it much longer.
Give me another. We tend to start slow in second half.
No, it's all right. It's still 0-0. But your final thing I want to ask you is for a score prediction. And if you go for 3-0 Wrexham, I'm going to come and find you in your seat and smack you.
Oh no, the circus has left town, so there's no 3-0s on the cards this time. You know what? I don't know. You're in pretty decent form. Well, I looked at your games before. You didn't win at all in August, and I think you've lost 1 in 10 since, which is mad. I think it's hard when we're playing a match. does that feature into it right now? I don't know. I kind of feel that it's going to be a draw. I don't know why that is. I just feel it's going to be a draw, and so that's just literally. I'm pulling out a 2-2 draw from somewhere. I don't know why. I think it's probably because it was two each at your place last year, wasn't it? Yeah. So
we don't score many, so I wouldn't back us to score 2 goals at the minute.
Yeah, but again, it's going to happen at some point. Just like everybody, we all said, well, Coventry are going to lose at some point. They did. So that's the unpredictability which makes this league so entertaining. I think I say that, and I'm just going to keep an eye out. It better not go 1-0 now. So then I'll outswear you. That takes some doing. But it is possible.
Nah.
But yeah, it's. I think I'll go with 2-2. I don't know why, but I'm going to stick with that, aren't I? Just go with 2-2. Why? It's not bad.
No, look, legend for coming on, mate. Really appreciate you.
Right.
Send my love to Russ, and tell him to stop messaging me after you smashed us 3-0 to get me out for a drink with you all in Wrexham. Because I was like, no.
Who's Russ?
Is Russ not the guy who came on last year?
No, there's a Russ who's a Stockport podcast, but they're in a different league now.
Who's the other guy who came on last year from your? Weren't you? Was it? You didn't come on last year with us, did you? Was it not Russ? Was it you who came on?
You came on one of the games, didn't you? I think.
What did it look like? I mean, there's Liam. It wouldn't be. It would be. There's Reese. Reese, you're probably thinking of.
No, it wasn't Reese or Andy. It wasn't the 4 of you. It wasn't. It was someone else. I can't remember now. We'll work it out.
Did he have glasses? And
I don't know.
He might have done actually.
It might have been Andy. Andy was with us
Andy.
for a
Yeah,
bit,
the
and
other
then
Andy.
Oh,
Yeah.
so, well,
we
one
parted
of you
ways.
was messaging me trying to get me
Okay.
out on the piss.
Oh, was he? That's interesting.
Yeah. And I was like, no, you've just smashed us. I just want to go to bed and cry. Um,
Yeah, it was. I
Yeah.
can't believe that was 6 months ago. By the way, that's weird.
Yeah.
Nuts, isn't it?
yeah, we wasn't very happy going home that night. It was like, oh.
What's your score predictions out of interest?
I'm with you on a draw, but I'm thinking 1-1 personally.
Yeah, same,
All right.
So we don't score a lot. So except for Ipswich, we scored for fun at Ipswich, but yeah, we
It won't be a
don't.
feast of football, Tim. Let's put it that way. I don't think so. Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe. I think I saw before. I think Wrexham and Charlton are side by side in the lowest average amount of possession. I very rarely take any notice of that sort of jazz, but it's quite interesting because one of the teams got to dominate. They can't just keep tippy tapping it to each other in the midfield, can they? So something's going to have to give, but it'll be interesting. And yeah, just anything to stop your Cardiff City supporting manager from jumping out of his own skin time after time after time after time. But you know, there's nothing wrong with. There's nothing wrong with celebrating in football, is there? There's nothing wrong with it.
If it makes you feel any better, he irritates the bleep out of me. So I just find him the most arrogant. Well, I can't really say it too much because I run a Charlton podcast, but yeah, I just find him a twat. So
he's an acquired taste, isn't he? So.
Well, he's learned from his circus comment, though. I think his circus comment did certainly backfire, didn't it?
Yeah.
So
I
think
massively.
a bit more
I think he was
respectful.
taken out of context. I think if he'd have said media circus, which is
of
clearly
course.
what he meant, it might have been a different story. But yeah, it did backfire. But okay, I'm sure he chooses words more carefully in the next few days, no doubt.
Yeah. Well, it's still 0-0. So run away and go and watch. Come on, Pompey. No, I'm only joking.
They're closer to you than they are to us. They're technically one of your nearer rivals, surely. So
well, we always win at Fratton Park, so
you never lose.
We never lose at Fratton Park, as the song goes. So
I think I was about 2 years old when we last played there, so it's been a while. So who knows? It still looks the same.
It's a shame you're not gone. It's a good away day, that.
Yeah, I wanted to, but 8:00 on a Wednesday. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a busy all week. We've got music festivals and kind of year and loads of stuff going on. So
that's it. You wait until I tell Ryan Reynolds you didn't go.
Well, he didn't go either, as far as I'm aware. So two peas in the same pod. That's just the way it is. I'm lucky. There we are.
All right, mate. Well, you get off and watch the game, and good luck for Saturday, but not too much luck, hopefully.
We'll see what happens. Take care.
We'll talk to you soon.
Nice,
See you later, mate.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Legend.
Top man.
Great podcast, Phyllis in Devotion. They're a great bunch of guys. I swear it was Russ. I must be going mad in my old age.
No, I think you and Abby said it was Andy. Yeah, there were two Andys at the time, but yeah,
so confused. I don't know who Russ is then. Oh no, it is Russ. Russ is Stockport. Yeah,
he is. Yeah, for Bagara Scarf, Bagara War. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get on my podcast. I've got all these men's names on my phone.
Yeah.
Right, we'll go. We'll obviously do our bit in regards to the Wrexham game. So obviously, any changes for lineups that you would like to see?
I think Bree will potentially come out on Saturday. I think, I think that we'll go Kane, Lloydie, and Macca at the back. And I think Absa might get a game on Saturday.
I'd like to see Rob come back in. I would really like to see Rob come back in. What about you, Paul? Anything for you?
Yeah, no, actually, that's the first Steve. Yeah, I mean, Abs for Bree. I think it's a game that's made for the Raptor, actually. And, I think he's champing at the bit. So yeah, apart from that, I mean, obviously I'd like to start Tanzo, but you know what's going to happen. So there's no point in him shouting in the dark for that one. So you know what I mean.
I think we all know he's going to start TC, but. The mad thing is, I just remember how bullied TC got there last season. Yeah, it was actually horrific to watch.
Well, we all got bullied. Let's be honest. I think
their right back he was talking about, he's actually an absolute ringer for a Simway, but he kind of plays like him as well. The one he was talking about on loan from Man City. So if he's talking about him being rapid with pace, that's probably who Tyrese is going to find himself up against most of the game, isn't it? So yeah, might be an interesting one.
Yeah, I sometimes, you know, Tyrese, I think the problem is for me, big occasions seem to overwhelm him. And he can't seem to deal with the big occasions. I'd really like to see Tanto come in massively. Yeah. And at least if he doesn't start, I think he needs to be given a good amount of time to prove what he can do and show what he can do. And I think that's so important. And Leeburn, I'm not sure. I mean, I'd quite like a Leeburn and Tanto combination because I feel like Tanto will read Leeburn better than TC does. Like TC's positioning can just be a little bit off at times for me because he's not really a striker, he is a winger. So his striking position isn't great. So we'll go through some score predictions, guys. So pop your score predictions in the chat as well. As you can see, I said to Tim I think it'll be a 1-1. I'm actually backing another Sonny Carey goal. I stuck a $5 on him to score last night, and he did leave it till last, so he won me 30 quid. Cheers, Sonny. That's me beer money for Saturday. So, Paul, I'll come to you first with yours.
Yeah, so I said 1-1. So again, Sonny. The thing about Sonny, if you can shoot from distance accurately and hard, that's an incredible weapon to have.
Yeah,
you can do it from outside the penalty area. I mean, people can't even. You know, it's such a amazing skill he's got. So again, I think it's set up for him. Can I just talk about the occasion? Because obviously you talked about TC sort of shrinking at the occasion. Obviously, that game last season was set up for them, wasn't it? They won. They could have got promotion if they beat us, which they did. I think the Cop's being redeveloped, isn't it? So it's only a 3-sided stadium. Yeah. So I wonder how that's going to affect things. It's going to be a bit like Oxford without the car park, I think. So that may have a part to play. I think. There won't be a sort of raucousness that there was last time, even though there was only 12,000 or something. They made a big noise, or 10,000 home fans. So I think that's going to have a bearing. And the fact is, it's still early in the season, so it's not, as I say, there's nowhere near enough the same amount riding on it. So from that perspective, there's no excuse to be sort of to shrink with the occasion. Hopefully, TC's learned his lesson. I think most of them will have learned some pretty salutary lessons after that on that day. So I'm confident that we're going to go out there and give a far better account of ourselves than we did at the end of last season. So,
crossed. And I think as well that Lloyd was carrying an injury. Yeah. In that game as well, which obviously didn't help, which is why he got subbed off. I think after 25 minutes. Sid, I'll come to you with your score prediction.
2-0 win and Sonny and Lloyd to score.
Yeah, I love that. Steve?
I'm going positive as well. More to do with the fact that I'm desperate for us to win this game. I hated every moment of that game last season, and I hated every moment of that experience, and I couldn't wait to get out of that stadium, couldn't wait to get out of Wrexham. So I'm going for a 2-1. I think the Ginger Ninja will score again, and I think Macca will get one as well.
I'm not playing, Steve.
You know what I'm talking about. And I think Macca will get one as well. So yeah, I'm hoping to walk out of that ground very happy on Saturday.
Yes, definitely. I will read. I love that. We're all quite positive. Going for a draw myself, but I will take a draw there because I think that'll be, as long as it's not as bad as last season, I'll take it. So Chris has just said Apter to start, Tanto to start instead of Leeburn. Then James has said, not sure Jones fancies Apter. Marcus said 1-0, Grotty win again, Carey to get his 6th goal. Michael said 1-1. Chris has said 2-1 Charlton, Carey and Tanto. Jack has just asked if anyone knows if Kelman injury is serious. I believe it's a hamstring injury, but don't quote me on that. Hopefully not too bad. Matt has said 2-1 Lloydie and Sonny. Horrible feeling Dobbo will score. Pray to God he doesn't. Chris has said, I've lost it. Where's it gone? 1-0 Sonny Carey, 89 minutes and 59 seconds winner. Wesley has said Charlton 1-0. James is feeling positive, or James is drunk. I'm not sure. 1-0 Doherty penalty.
Fair play.
It just go to the other side this time, James, I reckon. But that's it from us tonight, guys. Thank you for watching, and we will be back Sunday. If you are going to Wrexham, bring the noise, and we will see you there. Me, Sid, Steve are going. I don't think Paul is making this trip, but we will be in the front row in the middle block in the upper tier. So if you see us, give us a wave. If you see Sid, don't say anything horrible about George Dobson, because she will kill you. And to the 14-year-old girl who reckons she's George Dobson's biggest fan in Wrexham, you are not George Dobson's biggest fan. That is George. My Sid is George Dobson's biggest fan. So wind your neck in, because you're not. So Sid is coming for you. So don't forget to like and subscribe, guys, and head over to the TikTok, which I'm sure Sid is gonna update soon. And obviously give us a like and follow as well. And we will hopefully see you a very happy show on Sunday after we smash Wrexham 1-0. So we will see you then, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks all.